What's up guys, this is Dave from Otaku, and as of like last week, I've been studying Japanese for 9 months. So I wanted to talk real quick about my experience and give you guys an update. I've been studying Japanese for about 9 months now using like the MIA, Let's Learn Japanese, AJATT method. I've been using the advice mainly of like Map of Japan and Nuke Marine, and I've had the opportunity to talk to those guys, especially Nuke Marine quite a bit, and Map of Japan a couple of times. And so far I feel like my progress has been really great, and so I've been documenting this whole process so that people can also learn about language learning in this method, because it's kind of different than traditional school learning. So if this is the first time you found one of my videos, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this helps you. I'll go through a quick timeline and I'll talk about real quick what I've been doing. So first of all, there's a bunch of links down in the description that will lead you to like websites and methods and a whole bunch of stuff that's going to help you out, and I'll probably talk about a couple of them as I go through this video, but those are definitely some things that you should check out. I want to give a disclaimer. I am nowhere near fluent in Japanese, and I am not making this video as an intention to teach anybody, but more so as a way to document what I've done so that it can be repeatable, right? So if you're going to do an experiment, you might as well document your results. So that being said, I started studying Japanese officially. I use this as my official date as May 16th of 2018. Before I had really started doing this, I had tried the Genki books for a little bit, and I had gone through like 6 or 7 chapters of Genki 1, and I had the opportunity right afterwards to go to Japan. And while I knew enough rudimentary Japanese at that point to like ask for directions and order food and stuff like that, I noticed that I couldn't understand what anybody was telling me in response, and I noticed that I knew 0 kanji, and that was completely detrimental. If you guys want to know more about that, you can see some of my other videos that I've made. I talk a little bit more about that. But basically, I came back home from Japan and I was like, well, this is one of the things I want to do. I want to study Japanese. I also happen to be an active duty military, and I am most likely getting stationed in Japan in the near future. Probably like around summer of 2020, just in time for the Olympics. Lucky me. So with that in mind, knowing that Japan was in my future and that I have always been kind of a nerd and like Japanese stuff, I decided, you know what, I really want to know another language. At that time I was almost 30, now I'm over 30, and I really wanted to be bilingual at some point in my life. I kind of hated the fact that I wasn't yet, so I decided to start studying. So May 16th was the day that I officially started doing this whole Let's Learn Japanese MIA method. That is the day that I started doing RTK. So I did RTK 1, and I did the traditional method. I went through all 2,200 kanji. I wrote every single one by hand, and I don't recommend doing this. Looking back, I've lost a lot of that knowledge. Let's see, on September 1st, I started the Tango N5 book. There's links in the description about that book, and I did a review on it as well. On, let's see, November 6th, I started the Tango N4 book. While I was doing the N5 book, I read through Tae Kim. While I did the N4 book, sometime in the middle of it, around 6.5 months of studying Japanese, I took the JCAT and scored in the 160s, if I remember correctly, which was a really good score. I was really proud of that. Yeah, unexpected. And then on January 1st, I started the, January 5th. January 1st is the day I stopped the N4 deck, and then January 5th, I started the Tango N3 deck. And now, currently, I am more than halfway through that deck. That deck is, or that book rather, is broken into 4 decks, and I have done 2 of them, and I'm on the 3rd currently. So yeah, that's it. That's what I've done so far. It sounds really simple. I've been using a program called Anki to do it. I would assume that anybody watching this video already knows what Anki is, but if you don't, I'll go ahead and put a link for that in the description as well. Check it out. So yeah, let's talk about where I am at now. So like I said, for vocabulary, I am currently studying the Tango N3 book. It's, sentence-based. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you know what I'm talking about. And right now I'm about halfway through it. I'm probably gonna finish it in about 2 months. As far as stats go, I usually am on Anki for about 1 hour a day, based off like what Anki tells you. Like literally, it's usually like right above or below 60 minutes. And As far as reviews go, that's usually about 150 to 190 reviews a day, plus I add 30 new cards a day, which equals out to be about 15 new words. So I'm learning about 15 new words, sentences a day. The Tango books are really great. They are I+1, and they add 1 new word every single sentence. They're I+1 for vocabulary, they're not I+1 for grammar, but I haven't found that to be much of a problem. I've made my way through, 2.5 books now, and I've been having a really easy time with it. So if you guys have any comments, questions about the Tango books, go ahead and ask me. I'd be more than happy to answer them. I'm a big advocate of those books because they brought me to where I am now. Pretty much, I blame them for my success in Japanese, along with everything else that I've done, I guess, but they have definitely been the cornerstone of what I've been doing, right? They're definitely the anchor. Cool. All right, so as far as kanji goes, I'm gonna be honest and say I've pretty much stopped studying kanji almost entirely. I'm not gonna say that I regret doing RTK, but I will say, knowing what I know now, I would probably have done it differently. So I still suggest that people learn kanji up front. I still think that's a good idea. However, I don't think that doing the entire RTK book, especially RTK 1 and 3, but RTK 1, all at once, all 2,200 kanji, and doing it the traditional method is the best way to do it. I'm gonna be honest, I've lost a lot of my kanji knowledge, and the kanji knowledge that I have hung on to has been the kanji that I know because I know a Japanese word for it. A lot of the other ones, they've been gone. So there was a time period where I kind of stopped studying kanji and tried to go back to it, and yes, I understand that if I had kept doing kanji the way I was doing it, I probably would have memorized my mnemonics a little bit longer, but I stopped being able to do the word association with whatever English word was tied to that kanji, and then being able to remember the mnemonic for it, and then being able to write the kanji. After I finished RTK, I did flip it to lazy kanji style, and while that did work a little bit, yeah, it's just my opinion now. So what I do suggest that people do now, not that I'm really wanting to give advice all that much, but what I would have done going back is I would have either done Nuke Marine's 555 deck, which is the 555 most common used kanji in RTK order, and still done the same way you would have done RTK. I would have done that deck, or maybe even the first 2 555 decks, so that brings you up to like 1,110 kanji, or Map vs. Japan also has a lazy kanji deck now, which is the 1,000 most common kanji. I think those two are a much better option, and I think doing lazy kanji is probably the best idea as well. I think those two are a much better option than doing the full RTK traditional book, even though that's what I did. Yeah, just my opinion. Do what works best for you. As far as reading goes, I'm really excited about this. So recently, I bought a Kindle. I had an Amazon Fire tablet, but I had trouble using the Amazon Fire tablet with reading, especially because I wanted to add my own dictionary to it. I wanted to use like the EDIC, JDIC dictionary, and the Amazon Fire doesn't allow you to add your own dictionary to Kindle, but I still wanted to be able to read light novels and manga in the way that they were set up, with like vertical text and, the way they're supposed to go. So since I started this process, I've definitely read a bunch of manga. I've gone through a couple of different volumes of physical manga, and I've read some manga online. I will say that reading has not been my strongest point throughout this whole process, but it's definitely been a part of what I do. I work a really long time every day, not every day, so I work 4 out of 8 days, and when I am working, I work 12 hours a day, and where I work, I'm not allowed to bring any electronics with me, because that's the rule, right? It's a government facility, and it's the nature of the work that I do. So I own probably, I don't know, maybe like 20 volumes of manga. I haven't made it through them all, but I probably made it through about half of them, maybe, all in Japanese. And so I bring those to work, and I try to read like a half a chapter to a chapter a night. Originally, obviously, I wasn't doing that much, but now I'm doing a little bit more. But what I have been doing recently, and this is really exciting to me, is I have started reading light novels. So I tried reading light novels before, and I failed because they were just too hard for me. But now I have just recently gotten to the point where I'm like, oh no, this is doable, especially on the Kindle, because it has a built-in dictionary where you can just like highlight a word and it'll look it up. So I've been reading Kino's Journey, Kino no Tabi, and it's been going really, really well. I'm already about a quarter of a way through the book, and yeah, it just goes really, really smoothly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I don't have to look up words. I definitely have to look up words, but I have already started noticing that when I'm looking up words, that it's kind of decreased. Like in the beginning of the book, I was looking at probably like 10, 15 words per page at least, right? And now it's maybe like 3 or 4, which is awesome. Not that that's a lot of pages that I've read so far, but it definitely makes me feel really accomplished, and I'm also actually understanding the story, which is really exciting for me, because this is kind of the point that I wanted to get to. When I first started studying Japanese, I kind of made the joke that once I can read the Harry Potter books, I've kind of like reached where I wanted to go. I don't know if that's my goal anymore, but yeah, it's still just an exciting place to be. So as far as watching shows and listening, whenever I'm driving and my wife's not in the car, I'll listen to Japanese, whether it's Japanese music or audio cuts from Japanese shows. Mostly it's audio cuts from Japanese shows, and then when she's in the car, we listen to a lot of Japanese music because we're both big weebs. But we listen to other stuff too, I guess. And as far as watching stuff, I probably watch at least like 2 to 3 episodes of Japanese shows a day. I will admit that most of the time they do have English subtitles, but I have trained myself not to read those English subtitles. And I know that people really shit on watching anime or dramas or stuff like that with English subtitles, but like, you can train yourself not to watch them, trust me. And even if you do look at them every once in a while, that's not really the biggest deal. Like if you heard a sentence and you're like, oh, what was that word? What was it? And you look down real quick, that's not a big deal in my personal opinion. And also for me, it just kind of keeps life at home better, because like my wife likes anime and so do I, so we can still watch them together, right? And she's not studying Japanese. So yeah, I'm not gonna stop doing that. I'm just gonna continue to not read subtitles. It's not that hard. You can do it too, but it makes life a lot easier to get more immersion in. That way we can do it together. And you know, I get to still enjoy doing stuff with my wife. As far as writing goes, I don't write. I don't write at all. I don't practice writing. I stopped practicing writing kanji. If I had to write something in hiragana, katakana, I could absolutely do it. I have no doubt in my mind that I could do it. I've done it a couple of times just by practicing. So speaking practice, at this point, I haven't started speaking. I catch myself all the time just shooting out little phrases, especially like joking around with my wife and my friends and stuff like that. I'll just say something in Japanese and it'll just pop out of my head, right? It's happening naturally, which is really, really cool. Even like more complex sentences, not just like, I saw a dog, but like, I'm gonna go to the store and do this, you know, or like, so compound sentences, things that are a little bit more complex, things that require, you know, more advanced grammar than like N5. Those are just kind of like popping out of me here and there. And yeah, I think that's really awesome, but I have not officially started speaking practice at all. I don't have any Japanese friends. I'm not signed up for like italki. I don't go on Discord and talk in Japanese with other, you know, Japanese learners or anything like that. Yeah, but I do plan on starting to do that once I hit about the 1-year mark. I have no real desire to speak Japanese right now, but I know that it's something that's gonna be in my future because of most likely living in Japan for like 2 to 3 years. So I'm going to have to start learning soon. But I want to be able to finish the N3 book first before I start doing that, so that'll be a little bit before a year that I'll finish the N3 book, and then I will start practicing speaking Japanese. It might not be right after the N3 book, but that's my plan right now. I understand a good amount of Japanese, but I'm not there for speaking, I don't think yet. Although I have heard that the N3 level is kind of like when you start being able to deal with daily Japanese pretty easily, and I can definitely see why. As far as like things like pitch accent and stuff like that, obviously I'm not worried about that too much either if I'm not even speaking. So I'm not doing pitch accent training. For my future, what do I want to do? Well, I definitely want to finish the N3 book. That's definitely something that's going to be on my mind, and then I'm going to start moving on to traditional sentence mining. I'm not going to finish studying Japanese, you know, at the N3 book and call it a day, and I don't think I'm going to move on to the N2 book. I'm not saying I'm never going to do it, I'm just saying I'm not going to do it now. I do plan on doing sentence banks though, and I plan on using a program called Morphman with it. If you don't know what Morphman is, I only recently found out. Check out the link in the description. It is an awesome, awesome tool. So basically what Morphman does is you set it so that it looks at your entire collection of cards that you've already learned, and it figures out all the words you already know. And you can base it off, like, so if you're doing sentence mining or if you're doing sentences from the Tango deck, you can base it off those sentences, and it will look at every individual word in the sentence for Tango, and it will create them, turn them into morphs, which aren't necessarily words. Like, I have less morphs than I do words, which I find to be weird, but okay, because I don't really have any repeating sentence cards, not many at least. But it looks at everything you know, and then it can take a sentence bank that you make, like using Substar SRS, like you can take Substar SRS and you can put like an episode of a show, or, you know, a whole season of a show, or all the shows you've ever watched, you know, depending on how you want to study, all 100% up to you. And it will organize them in an I+1 manner, which is amazing, right? And it's a huge time saver for people like me who don't have all day to do AJATT, MIA, and stuff like that. Like, I joke around and say that I do some Japanese some of the time, because I don't have the time to do this 24/7 AJATT like some people do, or MIA like some people do. Like, it's just not gonna happen, right? Busy as adult, married, you know, in the military, it's not happening. But this can be a huge, huge, huge time saver. I've already set it up on my Anki, and I use Anki 2.0, so it's a little bit more complicated to set it up. It's not just like install and go. You have to do some stuff on the back end, but it wasn't hard at all. And I can definitely see how this is going to help me in the future. I already had a Substar SRS deck that was loaded into my Anki that I haven't been using, and right away I was able to organize it. Like, maybe it took me like a half hour to an hour to set up the whole thing. It organized my Substar SRS deck in an I+1 manner, and like the first card I looked at, I was like, yep, there's only one word I don't know here. This is amazing. And I had it set up to like Boku no Hero or something like that. So I thought that was awesome. So yeah, future, finish N3, do Morphman with I+1 with Substar SRS. Oh, another thing about Morphman is, like, if you're afraid that it's going to find you one new word, but that new word is like something you don't need to know, just like a very random extra word that's not gonna come up, and there's a lot more important words that you should be learning now, you can set up Morphman with a frequency list. So Matt vs. Japan did a video about how to set up Morphman, and he also did a video about how to add a frequency list to Morphman, and he used like the most common 3,000 words. So if you wanted to set up a frequency list, there's definitely a video for that. It's in the article about Morphman that he wrote. Check that out too. And I think that's a really cool tool, because if you're under 10,000 words, you should probably be focusing on the 10,000 most common words from like books or from anime or something that you're gonna use, right, or daily conversation. So anyways, but yeah, so I guess I'm gonna stop rambling now. That's gonna be the end of the video. If you guys have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. I am always looking in for new suggestions or ways to change things up. I'm pretty set in my ways, I guess, now with how I'm studying, but I definitely want to know about, you know, anime or dramas that you guys suggest, light novels that are on the easier side that you guys suggest. I'm probably going to read Rising of the Shield Hero next, maybe. I've been enjoying the anime, I'm all caught up with it, and that's pretty cool, so maybe I'll read the book. But if you guys have any suggestions for that, or, you know, anything for immersion, I'd really appreciate that. And if there's anything I can help you with, let me know. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for today, and yeah, see you in the next video. Later.